We're going to now transition into working on the final draft of our imagery poem. This is the poem that you were assigned to do last week on Thursday while you were at home. So if you completed this, you would have a rough draft written in your poetry packet number 3 called the Imagery Poem Rough Draft. If you did not get this done last Thursday, you will have to go back and complete this, which means you will go to your English course. You will have to go into last week, so that would be week 6, and you're going to have to go into Thursday's assignment. Here it is in your Thursday folder from last week, the Poetry Packet 3 Imagery Poem. In order to complete this, you will need to watch the video here and fill out Poetry Packet number 3. Once you have watched the video, and you can use your headphones or earbuds, or you can keep the volume low as you listen, and once you have your rough draft written, then you can do today's assignment. In today's assignment, which will be in today's Schoology folder, so now I'll be in week 7, you will see the imagery poem final draft. As I open this up, it shows me that I am going to use the rough draft that I wrote last week to fill out the final draft that is attached below, and I will use Cami. I'll turn it in when done, and then the final draft of my imagery poem is officially due on Wednesday by midnight. So here I have the final draft at the bottom. I'm going to open it with Cami so I can see it here. So now I can transfer my rough draft into a typed version. I'm going to go over to my text box, and I'm going to start typing with my title. There we go. Then I can start putting my poem in the box below. Keep in mind, if your poem is extra long, there is room on the second page. So to fill out my poem, I simply go to my rough draft and I transfer it one line at a time. It was the hardest thing I would ever do. Every time I need to go to the next line down, I'm going to make sure that I hit that enter button. If I don't hit the enter button at the end of each line, I'm not going to end up with the right number of lines. Now you can see I have typed the rest of my poem, and again, it came directly from my rough draft that I would have written last Thursday. And once I'm done typing it in, I do have the ability to make changes. I can add to it, I can subtract to it, or I can just tweak it a little bit. Before I submit it, I'm going to double check that my poem meets the requirements. So I'll slide back up to the top, and here you can see them highlighted. I had to make sure that my poem included the important event that my poem focused on. I focused on the warrior dash, so I made sure that was mentioned. It has to include a vivid, detailed description of that event and appeal to at least 3 senses. So I made sure I included a detail describing what it sounded like, what it looked like, and what the event felt like. Again, imagery isn't about just saying this looks like it, but actually going into vivid detail about what that actually looks, smells, tastes, feels, or sounds like. I had to have at least 10 lines, so I made sure that I started at the top and I counted. I cannot have fewer than 10 lines unless I want to lose points. And the final step was making sure I used 2 additional devices from this list. And I know when I was writing my poem, I knew that I had wanted to use a simile and I had wanted to use hyperbole. So I go through here just to make sure, and I talk about a feat of Olympic strength. That's exaggeration, so there's my hyperbole. And I mentioned simile. I feel it ooze like viscous glue through my fingers. There was my comparison that uses like. So now that I know I have met all of the requirements, which means I'll get a 4 on this poem, I'm going to turn it in to Schoology. I click the turn in button twice. It takes me back to Schoology and I hit submit. And now I'm done. If you have questions, make sure you do ask Miss Borkerding. And at this point, we are going to transition into work time. So if you did not get your rough draft done last week, please go to last Thursday's lesson, watch the instructional video, and fill out pages 4 through 6 in packet number 3. Once your rough draft is done, then you can go to today's lesson and type in your final draft, which is due Wednesday at midnight. If you have extra time at the end of the hour, you can work on your anchor unit or your independent novel. Remember to respect the workspace volume, stay focused on your schoolwork, and as always, keep your phones put away. You can now open up your Chromebooks, take out poetry packet number 3, and get working.